Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's morning briefing. A new Iranian military base has just been confirmed in Syria, just roughly 40 miles from Israel's northern border. Satellite images acquired by the BBC from Western intelligence has revealed at least 3 confirmed structures with more well on the way, all concrete proof of Iran's commitment to establish permanent strongholds throughout the region. This isn't the first Iranian military site discovered in Syria, of course, and most agree that it certainly won't be the last. Israel has detected and possibly even targeted several Iranian strongholds in Syria over the last year, including what's believed to have been a chemical weapons plant and rocket storage facility for both Iran and Hezbollah. As if tensions on the border weren't bad enough, IDF missiles also just shot down an unmanned Syrian drone that attempted to breach Israeli airspace. Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman reasserted Israel's position that it would always fire back when fired upon, promising that, quote, "The Syrian regime is responsible for every attack and violation of our sovereignty, and we will not allow the Shiite axis to be established in Syria as a base for action," end quote. While tensions between Israel and Syria is nothing new, the surprising situation between Lebanon and Saudi Arabia is threatening to explode into all-out war. About a week after Lebanese Prime Minister Saad Hariri resigned, accusing Hezbollah and Iran of seizing control of his parliament, the Saudi government is suddenly ordering all Saudi citizens to get out of Lebanon immediately. These are the kinds of words you typically hear before war is declared, a proclamation that, according to Hezbollah, the Saudis have already made. But Iran is actually seen as the major player behind the scenes of this conflict as well. Saudi Arabia and Iran are fierce enemies, and Iran's relationship with Hezbollah in Lebanon has been skyrocketing in recent years. If a war were to break out, it would almost certainly be Iran's proxy war against the Saudi empire. But one major factor in all of this still remains unclear: the true nature of Hariri's resignation from the Lebanese government. The Prime Minister made his announcement while abroad in Saudi Arabia, which at first was seen as a move of desperation to survive possible assassination at the hands of Hezbollah. But now the Lebanese government is claiming Hariri is actually being held captive in Saudi Arabia, and that his resignation was made under duress. This is a mystery that will definitely need to be cleared up soon, especially if the world hopes to escape another horrific Middle East war. In a rare move, the Israeli army has just posted a video to social media directly addressing the Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza and warning them not to launch an attack against the state of Israel. Quote, "We're aware of the plot that the Palestinian Islamic Jihad is concocting," says Major General Yoav Mordechai in Arabic. He then goes on to promise swift and immediate responses against any act of violence. These words come a few weeks after Israel destroyed a terror tunnel in Gaza that breached Israeli soil, killing at least 14 members of the local Islamic Jihad group. The group promised swift retaliation along with Hamas threats of violence, acts that have so far yet to be carried out. One major reason for this may be due to the ongoing Palestinian reconciliation talks. Both Hamas and the Palestinian Authority know that engaging Israel in war would undoubtedly send the unity talks crashing down. But as the IDF's video has confirmed, Israel is clearly aware of a revenge attack being planned. The Major General's words clearly reflect the growing Israeli anxiety about those unity talks as well, with many wondering if a newly minted Palestinian unity government will truly end terrorism or merely find new ways of sponsoring it. Roughly 100,000 Palestinians in Gaza have gathered over the weekend in memory of the late Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. At the event, which was billed as a show of national Palestinian unity, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas addressed the huge crowds with a renewed promise that Gaza will always be a part of the future Palestinian state, and that if negotiations on the two-state solution should ever fail, the one-state solution would be back on the table, party out of the coastal region. Over the past month, however, Palestinian reunification between Hamas and Fatah has been closer than ever, something Abbas also believes will help in negotiations with Israel and the United States. Ideally, it's also set to ease the hardships imposed on the citizens in the Strip, who are still living under inhumane conditions. At least one aspect of easing daily life so far is the first major shipment of medications that entered the Strip in over 8 months. The shipment just arrived last week. According to the New York Times, the United States Trump administration has finally begun drafting an Israeli-Palestinian peace plan. Though the plan could take until next year to finalize, it's said to address all the major hot-button issues, such as borders, settlements, and the status of Jerusalem. Despite all the planning, however, Trump's Middle East envoy Jason Greenblatt has said that, quote, "The goal is to facilitate, not dictate, a lasting peace agreement to improve the lives of Israelis and Palestinians and security across the region," end quote. He said the last thing the White House wants to do with this initiative is, quote, put an artificial timeline on the development or presentation of any specific ideas, and will also never impose a deal, end quote. Now all that's left is to wait for the final ideas to be put to paper and to see how the partners on the ground will react.